Hey babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, a spin-off of the Be Real Babe podcast. And today, you guys, I have 3 stories for you that's going to keep you up with Canada. It is Monday if you're watching this live. That means we are going to be talking about some Canadian news in this episode. And I have 3 different stories for you, one involving crime and mental health that's local here to Kelowna, and also a very scary situation happening pretty close to my home here in Kamloops. And we're also going to be talking about a missing persons case that is now closed in Alberta with an unfortunate ending, but at the same time, it's very rare that we're seeing missing people cases being closed, so at least there is some closure for the family, and there is also a murder charge that is coming out of this one as well. So if you're interested in listening to those stories, stick around and we'll jump right in. Okay, babe, so let's get into it. So the first story is local here to Kelowna, and as we go through it, I'll explain kind of why I thought this was a very important topic to talk about, because I think there's a big gap in helping those that commit crimes that are deemed with mental health issues and what happens to them and how we rehabilitate them. Just kind of like I feel like there's a lack of support that those that are individuals that are criminals for drug addiction. I think that if they were supported more, and again, a big part of that is mental health, I would hope to see less repetitive crime and all those things. So I feel like there's, like I said, a big gap in the space where what happens, you don't always want to lock people in jail, but they're obviously needing some support, some mental health support. How do we do that for those that are, not addicts? Where do they go for support? So 10 years sought for schizophrenic man who attacked Kelowna RCMP officer. So this came out today. The fate of a schizophrenic man who slashed a Kelowna RCMP officer in the face remains up in the air following his sentencing hearing Wednesday. Richard McCrae, 42, was convicted in July of aggravated assault of an officer stemming from an incident on March 27, 2022, outside the Ellis Place Supportive Housing building where he had lived. McCrae slashed Constable Jason Tomoyfichuk's face with a knife and then cut his own neck before he was taken down by other officers. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. I tried to look it up. I tried to find a video with it. I couldn't. He remained in custody since then. During McCrae's sentencing hearing Wednesday, Crown Prosecutor Miho O.G. Harris told Justice Stephen Wilson she's seeking a sentence of 10 years jail for McCrae. With enhanced credit for time served, McCrae would be left with 4 years, 8 months left to serve. During her submission, O.G. Harris referenced a pre-sentence report that found McCrae as a high risk to reoffend violently in the future and said that he does not take his responsibilities for his actions. He maintains that when he is stressed, he gets possessed and loses control, she said, reading from the report. The offender continues to have no insight on the seriousness of the offense and how it impacted the police officer. Where will he go? While the Crown is seeking significantly more jail time, McCrae's defense counsel Donna Turco said a sentence of time served is appropriate, arguing there's no justification for any further time in custody for Mr. McCrae. Despite this, Turco said he shouldn't be released into community on his own as he could fall back into homelessness. We don't want to release him to the community in my submission. A hole is there. We don't want to release him to the community in my submission. A hole is there in our law, and how do we fix this hole? I don't think we just throw our hands up and say, we've just got to release him to the street, she said. Mr. McCrae would like to be in the hospital. Mr. McCrae, we've heard from the doctor, is going to get worse with schizophrenia likely as he gets older. But O.G. Harris said residential facilities that may be able to assist McCrae all have long wait lists, leaving him with few options if he's released. Justice Wilson said shared Turco's concerns. I'm concerned about just simply opening the door with no ability for him to get help. Even if I were to give him time served, where does he go tomorrow? Does he go to the rail trail? That's the homeless camp in Kelowna, for those that don't know. That would be counterproductive, he said. It would seem to be a concern. It would seem to be of concern to him and of concern to the community if we simply tomorrow morning let him walk out and see what happens. You already told me that he'd rather be in a hospital setting. In a letter to the court, McCrae's twin sister also expressed concern about what will happen if McCrae is left on his own. He lives in constant state of mental torment, haunted by voices and images that only he can perceive. It is a form of suffering that most of us can't even imagine, she wrote. And this is where I feel like there's such a huge gap. Exactly this. This article explains exactly what I feel. Like, I just feel so awful for these individuals that are going through it. They're having absolutely no help, And it's just what happens to him. And he doesn't seem like he wants to go to those things. Like, I understand that maybe he doesn't have the understanding of his actions, but it seems like he doesn't want to go and do those things. I don't believe when people say they're possessed that they are like, oh, I want to be possessed and like this, or maybe taking not account necessarily accountability. Maybe is. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just spitballing here. But sometimes I feel like too, like it's more or less they just that's how they're trying to explain what it's like in their head. Um, I don't know that they necessarily think that they are, but I think they just think that's they're trying to explain that that's what it feels like you're possessed. And I would say that that probably does sound like you need to be in a place that, like, not a mental hospital. I know those aren't necessarily the best things, but like facilities like that, it's like we have long-term care, we have hospice, and I'm not saying that any of those services, and I know services are strained, but I wish that money would go towards like mental health facilities. So it's actually helping people through these things with these things, either long term or short term, as they're going through, psychosis or mental breaks. Like, I just think it should be separate from the actual hospital. And I feel like if we had places like that, and so if we have, please let me know. It just doesn't seem like it, that maybe could help individuals like this. And maybe there could be sides where there's more criminal ones, right, that have done criminal activities, and there may be more, safeguards put into those places. And over here, they're just a little bit more free to come and go, but still have place to go for their mental health. While Richard is a large man physically, he is incredibly vulnerable because of his disease. I'm gravely concerned about what will happen to him if he is released into homelessness, is what his sister said. And I am so sorry that you're going through this. Justice Wilson reserved his decision to a later date and asked the Crown and defense to let him know if they're able to find a place for McCrae to go if he's released. Constable Timoyfachuk spoke about the impact of the attack during the sentencing hearing, telling the court about physical and emotional damage he suffered. He suffered several fractures to his orbital bone, an arterial bleed behind his eye, and a cut on his neck in the attack. His wound became infected during his recovery, and he's been left with significant scarring on his neck, face, along with long-term nerve damage. I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and have had to partake in extensive psychotherapy in an attempt to repair the mental damage that occurred, he said, adding that he's regularly suffered from intrusive flashbacks of the attack. Constable Timoyfachuk was off work for several months following the incident. While he's now back at work, he has yet to return to frontline policing. I find I'm more apprehensive to putting myself in harm's way, and this has hampered my desire to apply to different roles, promotions, and or work extra shifts. Quite frankly, I was lucky to make it out alive of this incident. Respectfully, the police and the public needs to be protected. Despite voicing his concerns about McCrae, he said he holds no ill will towards him and hopes he is able to get the help he needs. At the end of the hearing, McCrae spoke to Constable Timoyfachuk directly, apologizing for the attack and the harm he caused. And like, that's what I mean. I absolutely feel so bad for situations like this, because it's like, I'm not saying some people like don't fake it, I'm sure, but most of these individuals, like, schizophrenia is no fucking joke, y'all. Like, that's what I mean. I feel so bad for them because they don't really get support. There's not much out there. And when they get in situations like this, they just end up in jail and then they go back into homelessness, and then what? And I believe, yeah, what had happened is, from my understanding, is that the constable was called to remove a tent. He went to go approach the tent, and then he just kind of like attacked from there. And it's so sad because I feel like there's so little being done to help people that are homeless, that do have mental health issues, that do have drug issues, especially here in BC. I just feel like they do things to exacerbate it. Like, I'm not saying jail's the best place for everybody, but at the same time, maybe it would give people more time to get clean where in their facility they can't use. And like, why can't we have like I've talked about this before, like different jails or facilities for people that are going through different things with the right people to support them. Police officers bring them in, but then they're cared for by, like, not nurses, but something around like a middle ground there where, it's like, I just feel like they just get put in a cage and then they're just left there. And although maybe some people it's better and they turn around better, a lot of them I don't think they are, because they have mental health issues. It wasn't like you're just being an asshole and you're pushing the limit and you need to be reprimanded for being a fuck bag. It's like you literally have mental health issues that need to be helped in whatever avenue you and your doctor choose, right? And I just feel like there's such a lack of support. It's just like it's just rinse and repeat. And then with our laws lately and courts and jails just letting people out on, it's just a never ending circle. I just feel like it's not being solved. So that's just where I want to bring up that story. And I really feel for everybody involved. I don't think that Mr. McRae here, obviously he's not well and he needs to be supported. And I'm glad that he's like, hey, I don't want to be out on the street. Obviously, it's not going to be good for everybody, but it's like, where does he go? So that to me is like, I feel like that's a really big gap. Speaking of another big gap, this one is now in healthcare. We talked about this in the summertime on this channel. We talked about the pediatricians that took like 6 weeks off of KGH here down in Kelowna, and there's just been, I don't know, some people have told me that a lot of doctors are coming here, and I've yet to see it because every time I look into this, I'm just seeing more and more people leave. So this is coming out of Kamloops, which is not far. It's also here in the Okanagan and BC. So Kamloops OBGYNs hope their resignation will galvanize IH province to better support women's health. The entire group of 7 obstetrician gynecologists at Royal Inland Hospital have handed in their resignation with a letter saying they see no way forward with in-hospital care. The news broke on Tuesday with Kamloops MLA sounding the alarm on the group's resignation. The group's doctors, which include Dr. Hilary Bakey, Dr. Jennifer Kozik, Dr. Paula Lott, Dr. Aaron Adams, Dr. Michael Hisayo, Dr. Rita Chung, and Dr. Christine Sutton, again, I'm so sorry, I'm not good at names, cited unsafe workloads, chronic staff shortages, and a lack of support from the government. Same thing when it happened here for the baby doctors. It is fairly unprecedented for an entire group of physicians to depart, but with the state of obstetrics in our community and with the upcoming loss of this group, we see no viable way forward, the letter said. Hopefully, the near total loss of low and high risk obstetrics in Kamloops will galvanize IHA and the province to support the health of women in our community the way they deserve. The letter indicated that some doctors will continue in-office outpatient gynecology work, but it is not yet known what that will look like. Mark Masterson, Vice President of Medicine of Interior Health, told Now Media that although this is a disappointing turn of events, patients will still be receiving the care they need at RIH. Masterson said RIH's maternity unit is still open and still has coverage. He said work is underway to support the obstetricians in their transition planning, bringing in locums and working with provincial partners to see what other supports can be brought in. He also said IH has ramped up its recruitment efforts, which has been ongoing over the last few months given previous challenges at RIH. In July, Interior Health advised the public about potential changes to maternity services at IRH. By September, Interior Health announced that TRFO would be halting new referrals. We've brought in quite competitive compensation offer in our partnerships with the Ministry of Health to make the site an enticing place for recruitment. We'll be reaching out to candidates who have previously expressed interest in the area and expedite the recruitment to the site. We're continuing to work on operational supports. Masterson said there's no concrete timeline, but the transition to new obstetricians will take place over time and will involve the staggering withdrawal of former doctors. Physicians have requirements. We have obligations to the patients that we've already accepted referrals for and already seen to provide ongoing continuing care, and before we leave the practice to hand that care over to another provider, he explained. Masterson explained that there is a shortage provincially and nationally for doctors who provide women's health that is not a unique problem here, he explained. Kelowna General Hospital pediatric ward was hit with weeks-long closures this summer and did not fully reopen until mid-August. Shortly after that, 9 members of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at KAH released a statement to share urgent concerns about growing crisis in maternity care in the central Okanagan. I'm disappointed that we've gotten to this position, he said. I can understand the frustrations of the providers, and they have been working hard for a long time and doing a lot to support their area, to support the Thompson region and other areas in the health authority, in fact. Okay, I guess my question here is, listen, if all of these people are leaving, all these doctors are leaving because of not necessarily the money, because of resources and how things are being handled, and you're just going to bring new doctors in, are you not just going to bring them in and they're going to probably face the same things? And like, why aren't we just addressing what's wrong? Across the board, it just seems like everything that all these services, everything that money goes taxes to and all that to help with healthcare and all this, like, where is it fucking going? I've never paid more taxes in my life. And knock on wood, I don't ever use our services. Thank God. Knock on wood, I don't want to jinx that. I've never paid more taxes, and yet I've never seen the least amount of support in healthcare in my entire adult life. It's very confusing. It's very confusing between me and my spouse alone, just us. And we don't use them. We don't use social programs. We don't use anything like that. I mean, I don't even know. Like the streets are a mess. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind the taxes, but it just seems like everything is crumbling more and more and more. We pay more taxes and thing crumbles more. I don't understand. How the fuck does this change? Like, I don't know. Just fucking piss off. Anyways, let's go to the last story. Now, like I said, it's a sad ending, but I think anybody that has an open missing person case in their family, obviously they always want to see them come home, but at least to have an answer is better than no answer. So there is an answer for one that came out of Edmonton, Alberta. So remains of missing Edmonton teen Samuel Bird found and second-degree murder charges have been laid. So this was also printed today. After 137 days, the mother of a missing Edmonton teenager has received the news she knew in her heart was already true. Her son, Samuel Bird, is dead and his remains have finally been found. I'm so sorry for your guys' loss. I'm so sorry that this is the answer. I'm sorry that it took 137 days to find him, but I'm really glad that at least you have a closed chapter of this and he can be put to rest and a proper burial can happen. And it's not ever great, but at least you can start the healing process. It's not going to change anything, but at least you're not left wondering, right? The Edmonton Police Service said investigators found the remains of the Indigenous 14-year-old in a rural area outside of Edmonton on Thursday. After a lengthy and complex investigation, we are pleased to be able to conclude this file and hopefully bring some measure of resolution and justice to Samuel's loved ones, who have been searching tirelessly for him, said EPS homicide detective Jared Bueller, the lead investigator in Samuel's case. A day before Samuel's remains were found, a man was arrested and charged with over a dozen crimes. Brian Farrell, 38, was taken into custody on October 15th and charged with second-degree murder and interfering with a body in relation to the homicide of Samuel Bird. Police said Farrell is also charged with 13 other offenses: 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of arson to property with disregard for human life, arson to property, unauthorized possession of a firearm, 2 counts of possession of a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of assaulting a police officer with a weapon, bear spray, uttering threats towards Alana Bird, and fraud over $5,000. Holy fuck. Scroll for more on his criminal charges. I think that's enough for now. That's Jesus. Edmonton police said Farrell is the only person arrested and charged in the homicide. At this time, police are not looking for other suspects in relation to the murder, police said in their news release on Thursday. The Confederacy of Treaty No. 6 First Nations expressed its deepest condolences and prayers to the family and loved ones of Samuel Bird on Thursday. The case generated an immense outpouring of interest and action, with dozens of strangers from across Western Canada joining friends and family in the search for the Indigenous teenager who went missing on June 1st. And that's one thing I hate to say, and the one thing that I see the most in these missing persons cases is the amount of people that flock to help. And truly, I just absolutely love Canadians that way, that they're always really trying to jump in and help, especially when it's local to them. I've seen it time and time again, and I think that's one beautiful thing that can come out of these extremely horrible situations. My son Samuel has been located. A big thank you to the Edmonton police for locating him, his mom Alana Bird said in a post on Facebook Thursday afternoon. Bird thanked the small army of friends, family, and volunteers who helped in the search, posting missing person posters in scouring areas within Edmonton and outside the city. I also want to thank the searchers and Samuel's warriors and the cherished friends I made along the way in hopes of finding him, she said. Detective Bueller said last week he'd never seen anything like it. Police said 2 weeks ago they believed Samuel was murdered. Investigators and volunteers spent 4.5 months searching for any sign of the Indigenous teenager. Last week, police narrowed their focus to a wooded area near Carrot Creek in Yellowhead County, about 160 kilometers west of Edmonton. Edmonton police said at the time they received compelling tip that led them direct resource to a heavily wooded region. Police said if the teenager's remain had been in that area all summer and into the fall due to the science of decomposition, they would likely be searching for bones. Bird went missing on June 1st after leaving his home to visit a friend in the Kenora neighborhood of West Edmonton. He was seen on surveillance video at approximately 8:30 p.m. walking through the grounds of Holy Cross School near 151st and 104th Avenue, after which he went to a friend's house near 150th Street and 106th Avenue. That duplex in the West End was raided by police on September 18th, and a little over a week, the home was torched in what police said was highly suspicious fire that's now being treated as arson. The arson charges laid against Farrell is in relation to that September 29th fire at the duplex, which court documents said he did not own. The court check also indicated Farrell is accused of trying to defraud TD Insurance $50,000 on the same day of the fire. 3 counts of assaulting a police officer charges and dangerous weapon possession charge were laid after the accused allegedly bear sprayed 3 police officers on October 5th. Farrell was also charged with threats causing bodily harm and death in relation to something that happened last week. The court document said on October 9th he allegedly knowingly uttered, conveyed, and caused Jennifer Gordasco to receive a threat to cause death or bodily harm to Alana Ray Bird, which is his mom. Jeez. Farrell has lengthy criminal record that predates Bird's disappearance. Court records show that includes various aggravated assault weapons and mischief charges. And this is, again, why I'm so frustrated with the lack of strength in our court system and our jail. Like, where is it happening? Because they're getting caught, they're being charged, but then they're out. Like, if this man had a history of this, like, why is he out? What are we doing to help these people? Like, they're obviously got some shit. We just keep putting them in jail, letting them out, they recrime, put them back in jail. Like, it's just rinse and fucking repeat, and it drives me absolutely mental. I seen recently that Carney said he was going to crack down on it, and honestly, I fucking hope so. I don't have a choice who our prime minister is, but whoever it is, like, do fucking something. Please. This country is spiraling so fast. It is absolutely unreal. And instead of blaming and taking accountability and looking at the real things, it's just turned into this fucking clown circus of blaming everything on everyone else but our own leadership. Trump didn't get us here. Or else we would have been here when he was in term the last time. Is he not helping us? No, but we're not helping us. We're not helping us. We're sending our money everywhere else. To shit we don't need to. We're putting money in the pockets of very rich people that y'all claim to fucking hate, but don't say anything about. Anyway. So, to round up this episode, I really hope that going forward there is some work to be done for people in the mental health space when it comes to crime. In all of these circumstances, I think these individuals need help. And I'm not saying don't lock them away and keep them away to keep people safe. But what are we doing to rehabilitate these individuals when they're there? What is happening? Why can't we look into different alternatives to make these individuals be able to want to be better, to be able to live better lives? And I'm not talking the hardcore ones that kill people. And this officer is very lucky, and this man is very lucky he didn't kill him, because that would have been a completely different situation. He came very close. What are we doing with that? Just throwing them back on the street? I don't think that's the answer. But you guys let me know what you think. I don't know. I just always spiral with this stuff and I just don't know. But I just feel we need to talk about it, and I'm not happy that this missing person case is that's what the outcome was. But I'm very, very happy that at least the family had answers. They get to move on, that someone is charged for this, that hopefully justice will serve. Or will it? Will he claim a mental health issue and just be back out and then go after his mom that he's already threatened? Like, at what point? At what point, you guys? But anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, on Wednesdays we have Internet Insanity. On Fridays we have the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Rumble, where I have amazing interviews. If you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Be Real Babe. Thank you guys again so much for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye! Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye!